Buenos dias. These phones have been acting up today. Seriously. Alrighty, it is Sunday. We're grateful and blessed to be alive, to have breath. You know, like the kids say, food on our table, clothes on our backs. We are grateful to God, to the universe. Okay, so today I thought we'll do something real quick. I am doing quinoa with black beans, coconut milk, and then I had bought some fish. And when I got there, the gentleman said, I said, what is that? He said, catfish. And I was like, catfish? Buenos dias, Deborah. I'm like, catfish, really? I didn't know they had catfish here in Panama. So, I'm taking on faith that it is catfish. Because I didn't see the whiskers, so I don't know if it's really, because you know, in my shop in Orlando, I could tell it's catfish, but this one, I don't know, it looks like corvina, but he said it's catfish. So we're gonna cook that today, but I'm gonna cook it as if we would be cooking catfish, not fried, because yeah, catfish is good. And what I wanted to do initially was the Caribbean soup, and I'm staying away from beef now because it just didn't. I tried, and it's like, well, Maggie, you're pushing your luck. So no. Woo! And I'm having a hot flash right now. I have both AC units on and a fan. Hola, Elizabeth. So we're gonna cook some catfish. We're gonna cook it in the pan. So I'm gonna make sure I slice it thin so that you know it can cook easy. And when I was home last time, it's not fish fry, but it is beer batter. Beer batter is what we use when we're making fish and chips. So I'm gonna season it a little bit and dab the fish in it, and then put it in the pan, in the skillet. That's how we're gonna cook it. And then I'm doing a side of veggies. And I look in my fridge. I have bok choy. I still have some of that Swiss chard, some tomatoes. So we're gonna do a little bit of veggie. You know, you gotta have your veggies. And then I found this morning, I already been to the store, and I found some plantain. That's my weakness. In addition to the nut mix, that's a weakness. Look how beautiful that is. Isn't that gorgeous? But I like them like this, between, you know, green and ripe. The ripe one we call maduro, right? Some people say, I don't like plantain. I like the sweet ones. Yeah, they like maduros. And we have maduros too, but the maduros, you kind of have to cook them. You have to kind of, yeah, they're sweet, and I don't like them myself. So we're gonna do that as a side. So I also boiled some black beans last night. I finished them off overnight. So the black beans are cooked. So we're gonna go straight to the rice. And if you're Caribbean, you have a pot like this. Many. I used to have mini, medium, large, extra large for the holidays. And I had to give them all away when I left. That was hard. That was hard. But you know, that's our babies. When you cook Caribbean, you need your pot. And you can't use any other pot. It doesn't come out the same. Morning, Greta. Oh, Greta's here. All right, guys. So, and then today, when I was at Ray, Mercado Ray, it's like a ShopRite or something like that, but that's my store. It's kind of in the middle. It's not really, the quality is like medium. And then they had a whole bushel in the middle with haws. Usually I see haws. I've never bought them because I like the Panamanian avocado better because they're bigger. They look more like what I'm used to with the narrow neck. But they're not in season right now. So if you get avocado, I got an avocado last time and it wasn't good. So I think the reason they were on sale is because they were getting ripe. So I got one. So we're gonna see see if we're gonna add that to our plate. So we're gonna have a nice plate today. So let's start with the rice, okay? Now, a sofrito, when I do rice, I usually want to have a piece. And also, I remember telling you that the other day I went to Reba Smith and they had a pack of cilantro for $3.29, and I was like, I'm not paying that. Because, you know, after I cook here, I don't cook during the week. So if I buy a bunch of anything, then it goes bad. Just like I had to buy this, the deal for last week, the fish cakes, it's still here. So I haven't cooked it. So I'm going to put some in the batter today for the fish. All right. I have some tomatoes I have to use. I did not buy squash. We're going to do a different kind of medley today. All right. So when you're cooking good rice as a Caribbean, well, Haitian, you have to have what we call a piece. A piece is a mixture of green onions, lots of garlic, parsley. What else do we put in there? Some people put green peppers. It's like a sofrito, but what it does, it just gives you a base for the taste of your food. Now, I don't do that again because then you have to put it in a jar. So if you're not cooking a lot, it stays there and it's a waste. So I don't do that. So we're just going to do our garlic and onions. I don't have green peppers, and we're gonna go with that, okay? I'm gonna use some of that parsley. And yesterday I went to San Felipe, the market, and the lady was taking apart a bushel of cilantro. I think it was Thursday or Friday, and I said, I need $1, and she gives me this much. And look at the cilantro, it's already like this. So that's why I don't buy a big bushel, because it's gonna go to waste. When you buy herbs in Panama, if you buy them in these bags, they last a little bit longer, okay? So I have a few little twigs in this one of the cilantro. And like I told you too, cilantro, sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. So when you see it, you buy it, but it's like everything else. You can't buy a lot of it because it's gonna go bad fast, okay? So it's like what do? All right, so we're gonna just try to pretend that we're making a piece by just seasoning our food. Do the baseline so that we can get the taste correct, okay? Always start with onions and garlic. You do that, that sets the tone for the taste of your food. All right? And I bought some sunflower oil from the flowers, not the seeds. You do not want to buy seed oil anymore. Although I don't know, we've been using those forever. And they're like, oh, that's bad. And of course, coconut milk. You need coconut milk when you cook your rice, okay? That's just a given. So we're gonna make the base of the onion, and then we're gonna do lots of garlic, and then some of that. Lots of garlic. You know, I had a couple of ladies bring me a garlic presser, but I don't know. But you know, I also, something I left when I came, my pilon, which is like a mortar and pestle, but in wood, and then you put all your spices in there and you beat them up. But when in Rome, you adjust. What you don't have, you do what you can. So take note. If you want to use, if you're gonna make rice and peas, this is how you make it, okay? And of course, rice is not bad if you don't eat too much of it. Like in Panama or in Madagascar, OMG, el arroz. I saw them interviewing some Panamanian. They said, okay, what is the food that you would miss the most if you didn't have? They're like, el arroz, el arroz. They say, if there is no rice on the table, the table is incomplete. If they have soup, they have arroz. They have lentejas, they have arroz. Now for the holiday season that is coming up, they are going to have arroz con guandu. Guandu are these small little black beans, not your regular black beans, that they cook here with every holiday. Every holiday. So, I cooked it once. I really, I didn't care for it, but that's what Panamanians love. Alright, so I turned the heat down a little bit. And we're going to chop our garlic. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with my garlic first, so we'll see. I think I'll do better just by chopping them up. But you know, sometimes if you need the garlic to be really uniform, then I guess I would. And I do have, oh, you know, this other lady brought me another one that I can just, let me see. She got the rolling one. Yeah, she got me this one. Let's see. Oh, no. No, it's not better. Wow. Aww. Not your fault, Monica. Thank you. They just don't make things the way they used to anymore. Thank goodness our hands still work and our knives. Alright, so we're going to put our garlic in here. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we're doing the rice because that's the one that takes a little bit longer. But not really. It's not that bad. And then you feel the fragrance, right? And that's what they say. Once you cook your garlic, once it's fragrant, it's good. I'm just gonna put that other one in there just because I'm a garlic nut. I love garlic. I don't think you can ever have too much garlic. I'm sure you could. You know, if you cook Italian too, you put a lot of garlic, fresh garlic. Me encanta el ají. Ajo, is it ajo or ají? Ajo. My students in my first class are doing so well. I'm so proud of them. Oh. I was joking with them. I said, I need to find me a church so I can raise my hand. Right, Greta? I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, don't give up. Those of you who are learning Spanish, don't give up. You just have to stick to it. You have to have the stick-to-itness mentality. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of cilantro, what I can salvage from this, and add it in there. So if I had the pilon, the peso, and then I mash them all together, then you put that in there. Oh, and the smell, just amazing. Oh, that's gonna take too long to get the things out. I'm just an impatient soul. I don't have patience for a lot of things. Okie dokie. I think that's as far as I'm gonna go. The rest of it is gonna go in the trash. And you can see how if you were to add, you know, like green peppers, I already have onions in here, you know, that's a base for you to have an amazingly tasty food, you know, dish. Alright. Very nice. So let's do the cilantro. And then we're gonna do a bouquet garni because I do have fresh thyme. Yay! What I don't have though is I don't have fresh ahi chumbo. I don't have scotch bonnet. Couldn't find any. You know how it is here in these Panama streets. It's hit or miss. You find it this week and next week, nope. Can't find it. Alright, so now I'm going to turn the heat back up. I didn't want to burn my garlic. You know, this is the worst thing you want to do, is to burn your garlic. Alright. Something else I found today at the store, hibiscus flowers. I found hibiscus flowers. I'm gonna have tea. So excited. That was only $5. We went to another place, it was $8. Alright, so now I'm going to scoop the black beans and put them in here. The cooked beans. Now, I want you to see that we don't cook our rice the same way as the Jamaicans. Jamaicans cook the beans and then with the water, they put everything in. We don't do it like that. There is no better way. It's just the way I was taught. And that's how we cook our rice. We don't put everything together. All right, and then we're going to use that water to flavor. I think I have a little bit too much. But that's okay. Alright. So now we're going to kind of toast the beans. Right? Garlic pieces. And then this is the time where you just season the beans. And no, we don't use allspice in our rice either. You know, a little variation, but I love allspice in the soups. Yes. We both will go to church for the conjugation. Got a scotch bonnet. Oh, you need to send me some. Sometimes I find it, but sometimes I don't. All right. So now, while the heat is high, I'm going to do my salt. Not pepper yet. I mean, salt. Pepper first. Now, I put a little cumin because I'm just crazy about cumin these days, but typically we don't. Now this has a little bit heat. The heat is cayenne pepper. I'm just gonna put a little bit because I don't have any of the, I'm missing that pretty Scotch bonnet. Adobo, that has salt, so I have to be careful. All right, definitely some paprika, red pepper, very good. ¿Qué más? Sage, no, sage I like to use with meat. But I do have a little bit of dry red pepper flakes. I'm putting some in there because, I'm Caribbean. I like a little bit of heat. But there is nothing like a fresh Scotch bonnet or jalapeno doesn't do the same thing. It's not the same. All right. So you do this. Oh, so good. And then, let's see. Yeah, I think I'll leave it like that. Then I'm gonna get my coconut milk ready. But I'm going to toast the grain in here first, okay? So whether you're doing rice or you're doing quinoa, you want to toast the grain a little bit. Then you add the coconut milk. I think that's enough. I'm going to share that with my neighbors because I don't want to, oops, I don't want a lot of grain. I think that's good. Yes, it's bad. Yep. Oh, okay, that's good. All right. So now you're toasting your grain in here. Now, when I was learning to cook, we didn't do that. We just season the beans and then we put the liquid and then we add the rice. But when I went to culinary school, they told me that this is a good way to really season the grain. And I've been doing it ever since, and I've loved the taste, the way it came. All right. So now I'm just going to add the coconut milk first, and then, I mean, you can go catch the coconut and grate it and all that, but I take a shortcut here. Alright. Now, with the liquid, I have a lot of liquid here. You have to be careful because quinoa does not require as much liquid as rice. So, I'm going to do like a 1-to-1 ratio. I'm not measuring, but I'm going to just make sure I have enough. What I don't want is for the quinoa to become pasty. Alright? You don't want that. So that's about as much as I want to put in there, okay? Because otherwise you get your rice or your grain. Somebody was saying, who was I talking to the other day? She said she was married to an African and they like their rice, all the grain separated. It's a matter of choice and culture. Right? In my culture, we said, so we want the grains to be kind of independent. But when it's like mushy and pasty, we don't like that. So I don't want that for the quinoa either. So what I want to do now is just make sure all my seasoning is on point. That's when if I need to put a little salt or whatever, I would do it right here. All right, so I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit because I don't want the bottom to burn. All right, so now we're going to season it. Adobo, maybe a little salt. Now, rice does not need acid, okay? You don't need to worry about that. So be very careful about how much salt you put in and taste, because it's a lot easier to add salt than to take it out. You cannot. And all this stuff that there are potatoes, put it in there, it's going to take the salt out. That's never worked for me. I don't know who told that lie. So be careful with salt, with some spices. It's always better to add. All right, so we're gonna let this cook. So I definitely had way too much liquid. So I'm gonna save that. Once it starts going down, I'm gonna move it to the other burner. When what we call étouffé, when I'm gonna put the on top and let it cook, then I'm gonna move it to the back burner. All right, in the meantime, we're gonna be working on the fish. I think I'm only gonna use one steak. I'm not gonna use both. Oh, that's right. I didn't put a bouquet garni in there. Oh, Maggie, you are slipping. You gotta put that thyme in there. Yes. Oh my God, look at this. This thing is limp. All right. I'm gonna get a piece of string. Yes, it looks like a grits right now, doesn't it? All right. So it tastes good. And then when it's almost dry, we're gonna put it back there. And then we do Monte au beurre with a little bit of butter. Please don't get upset if you're vegan. You don't have to put it in there. All right. I was talking to this sister yesterday. She said, oh, somebody said, you know, the chef, you're just a cook. Well, I am a cook. You know, people get so hung up on titles and stuff. I am not. But I did go to culinary school. I went to Cordon Bleu, okay? But, you know, even when I was in school, there was this debate about who's a chef, who's a cook. Usually the chef is like a cook who's a manager, right? A manager who's responsible for the menu and for the cost. And we had to do that for graduation. We had to, we were a team and we had to create, like we were opening, I remember we were opening like a food truck, and the concept and the design and the menu and the pricing, because there's a lot that goes into pricing. Just like, you know, when I did home care, I had to decide how much I was going to charge my client based on my cost plus my expected profit, right? So we have to do all that. So that's, you know, if you say a chef is not just somebody who cooks, it's somebody who is able to manage a project, you know, like catering and stuff like that. So I don't want to do any chefing here now in this time that I'm living, because it's a lot of work. A lot of sisters have personal chefs, and I take my hat off to them. Those chefs cook and deliver food, and I'm like, I don't want to work that hard anymore. Hola, Margaret. Yes, I don't want to work like that anymore. So, but you can call me whatever you want. I'm not one of those people, you know, I don't worry about title at this stage in life. Why should I? Okay, so almost there. Almost. You see, we're letting the liquid evaporate, right? And it's looking good. It's not paste. So this is where I'm going to put a little bit of Monte au beurre. And that's where I learned these terms. So if I didn't go to school, I wouldn't know anything about Monte au beurre. Because Cordon Bleu is a French school, and everything we learned was based on the French system of cooking, all right? About making stock and all kind of stuff. You know, some people are good cook and they call themselves chefs. Who cares? I don't care. So please don't think you're gonna upset me, or I'm beyond getting upset about stuff like that. It's like, who cares? I know I don't. All right. Trying to get the back burner to be a little bit hotter. So this is our catfish. Supposedly, as I said, to me it looks like a corvina, but the guy said it's catfish. I'm going to trust him. All right, so let's move our quinoa to the back and let it do its thing. All right. There. Put it back there and cover it with this, because what you want is for the heat to really concentrate, and that's going to help the cooking process. All right, so now we have our supposed catfish. Now, it's not probably going to look exactly like what you think about. I'm going to just do it like this, like so. I remember we used to have a catfish place called Catfish Country, where we would go and get catfish and, what do they call that? Put tater tots. Remember tater tots? Yes, I remember tater tots. Oh my goodness. Well, although now I'd have to kind of give up on that. It's just too much starch. So we don't want them to be too thick, okay? But they're nice steaks, huh? Let's take another one out of there. Yep, there's another one. And maybe one more. All right, here's the last one. And then this one is kind of a bone. I'm just gonna throw it in there and cook it as well. All right, so now we're going to season, let it sit for like 5 minutes, because you know fish, as I always tell you, you don't need to marinate fish overnight. No, you'd be cooking the fish in the acid. All right. But we're not cooking a lot today, which is good. Yesterday we had our tea, and I had way too many carbs. I mean, pastries galore, and I had several. So this morning I went to to Ray. I was fasting. I was smelling the chicken cooking and the bread. I was like, oh Lord, but that was good. I didn't buy any. So we're going to clean our board. Now you notice that I have this thing here underneath the board. This is something again that you learn in culinary school, that under your board, you need to put these things that would anchor the board so that when you're busy cooking and chopping, the board doesn't slide off and you're gonna end up cutting your finger off. So you always had to have, and the chefs would come around and check, right? So you don't want to not have that. That is a safety concern in the kitchen, and the cleaning of the boards in between, washing of the hands, very important. And that's how when you keep eating out and you have a kitchen, a restaurant where they don't ascribe to these particular safety cleaning pattern, that's where you get sick. On a board like this, after you cook, you have chicken, meat, and then they come and they put your salad on top of that. That's how you get sick. So those of you who are at home with food poisoning, in the kitchen, the hands, the knives that they don't clean in between, that's how you get sick. Okay? So be careful. All right, so we have our fish. I need jumbo. All right, so I'm gonna put but I used the sour orange, so I have pits. Or you could use just lemon and lime, okay? So I'm gonna put the acid last. Hola, VOV. So when I'm marinating my fish, I put a little bit of olive oil. I know, if you're anti-oil, you're anti-oil. I'm not. And I'm not gonna say anything because it's not something that, to me, you know, I'm not gonna judge anybody who said no oil, no salt, no. Perfectly fine. You live your life. I think I like pepper as much as I like garlic. I have some dry basil here that I like to use. It's dry. And I have, they have dry dill. So I have dry dill, so I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there. And then I'll be putting it a little bit in the batter as well. Ooh. Let's see. All right. So garlic, definitely lots of it, as always. You know, you can buy a bunch, you know, a big bunch of garlic this long for about $1.25. So that's not cheap. That's not expensive. But this sister was telling me that, oh, you know where they're from? They're from China. I'm like, I can't believe I'm in the Americas and I'm getting garlic from China. Isn't that weird? That's the same thing I saw in Ghana, Africa. Ghana, Africa, they had a bunch of tomato plants that were shut down. So that means people were not getting jobs, and then every single tomato product was imported from China. They imported chicken from China. And if you know African cooking, they use a lot of tomato products. So, you know, and there was a lot of chatter about why they shut down the plants, you know. People did not have jobs, but then they were importing all this stuff from China. In Ghana, they had little areas called China Town, China Center, China this. If you see any road project, China, Chinese, it was kind of weird. But that's the reality. If you go anywhere, you see big road project, chances are it's sponsored or funded by China. Whew, I don't know. I went to Chile, and China was inaugurating a big port in Peru. So they are everywhere in the Americas. And I think the difference with the Chinese, whatever it is that they're doing, is that they're helping the communities. In Africa, they open plants and they hire locals, but there are also reports of abuse because on social media you would see how some of the managers sometimes abuse the local, or people go to your country and they still try to oppress you in your own country. Oh, we got nothing to say about that from over here. But anyway, so I'm gonna put the garlic in there. I did a lot, but really I don't need to. I think I'm gonna leave a little bit of the garlic for when I make. I'm gonna make a sauce, like a wine butter sauce, to put on top of the fish, which I like to do. Ooh. I'm smelling my quinoa, so I need to make sure it's not burning. 3. Okay. All right, let's leave the rest of that garlic over here for the sauce. All right, so with pepper, we're gonna put some adobo. And in the fish, I like to put a little bit of soy sauce. I have this dark soy. This is abundant here because Panamanian cuisine includes a lot of Chinese flavors because the Chinese influence is strong here and in the culture. A little bit of salt. And then let's squeeze some lime juice now. Well, how about some dill first? Let's do some fresh dill. Oh, I love dill. It's not something I use a lot, usually for special dishes, but it's not something I would generally buy, right? Last week I bought it because I was making the fish cake, and boy, did they serve me well. Those fish cakes were delicious. Woo. Okay. Very good, very good. All right. So now we're gonna put, I didn't put the acid first because I didn't want the fish to start cooking. All right. With the acid. And don't be shy with the acid when you're dealing with fish, because it can handle a lot of acid. That's why you squeeze so much on your food when you're eating it, which I don't. People do that. They say, oh, I want some. Now, I put it in. After that, I don't squeeze it on. But I know a lot of people do. It's another cultural thing. Let's see, I'm not. All right. Whew. And I remember telling you, I'm still on the hunt for like a good, some good tongues. Okay, you're mixing it, you're seasoning. As much as I don't want to, I have to kind of taste this to see if it's got enough salt. And it does not. So, I'll put a little bit, or I could have put it in the batter. Yeah, be careful how much salt you put. Let me put a little bit of that hot cayenne pepper because I don't have any hot peppers, remember? I'm out. And I have some red pepper flakes. just because I am into a little bit of heat. All right. So now we're gonna make a batter so that we can cook the fish. Now I'm using this skillet, and I know it is old, but the reason I like this skillet, this is the first skillet I bought when I came to Panama. It's round. When I put the oil in it, it stays where I want it to stay. But when I use my other ones, the oil goes to the corner and in the middle is empty, and I don't want that. Okay? So let's do the batter. We're gonna put it. Okay, this is good. We're gonna put our batter in. And I'm just using this with a little bit of spice. I'm not putting flour or anything else in it, okay? Because I don't really want the fish to be battered like you're doing fried chicken or something like that. I don't want all that on it. Oh my goodness, I used to make some good fried chicken when I fried chicken. I haven't done it in years, haven't had it in years. And with any batter that I make, you know, my secret weapon is some cornmeal. I don't think it's such a secret. I see it in some other recipes when I'm watching online. All right, so I'm not the only one to do that. But because I have such a hard time finding the right consistency cornmeal, oh my God. I have tried so many. This one, but it doesn't have the grit, the little grainy. It's all very thin. The struggle is real. So I am making do, but it's not what I want. It doesn't have the right texture. So that's another thing for somebody to bring me. Cornmeal in the carton thing. Yes. I'm telling you, you don't realize the things that you start missing until later, after the honeymoon is over. And you're like, I can't find this, I can't find that. And yes, you can't, because it's just not available. I am starting, today I saw instant grits at Ray. So they are starting to pay attention in the stores and adding. So this is some of that albahaca, basil, right? And then there's dried dill. I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there. And I am putting a little bit of that cayenne. You don't have to if you don't like meat. Oh, and we gotta put cumin. You know, I'm a cumin freak now. And I'm definitely going to put some paprika. All right. And what else am I going to put in there? You know, as the crazy woman that I am, I put turmeric in everything. I do. Ooh. Turmeric is good for you, so that's why I said to some of the ladies, I'm like, anything that you think is good and you can't tolerate the taste, put it in a smoothie or something. So you don't taste it, but you still have it. Okay, I'm also putting a little bit of curry powder. Why not? I'm looking for a little bit of an orangey tone to the fish. Oh, I smell the allspice in here, so it's gonna be good. That's it. You see, you gotta prepare your batter, and then you just Probably should have dried the fish a little bit, but oh, this is the first one that come out is that bony part. Okay. Mmm. You could have dried the fish, but I'm afraid if I dry it and some of that seasoning is gonna get lost. I don't want that. I don't want to lose anything. Right? Woo-wee. That's gonna be good. While this is cooking, I'm gonna chop the veggies and be ready. I know my quinoa must be done. This is how I feel. All right, let's check on the quinoa. I know it has to be done because it's only about 10 minutes. Ooh. It's the quinoa. Okay. So I'm gonna take that bouquet garni out. And so, quinoa is ready. Yes. All right. Let's taste. You see, you can see the grains, right? All puffed up. Listen, that's why you put that coconut milk in there. So you see, now you know how to cook quinoa. Simple, simple quinoa. All right, let's keep an eye on our fish. All right. Now, because this looks a little bit like corvina, I'm going to cover it just to add a little bit of more heat so that it can cook, right? Because we don't want the fish to be hard. So I'm going to use some of that, the top, and do that, okay? All right, so what kind of veggies do we have? Well, you know, in the meantime, I'm going to turn the oven on and do the plantain. Gotta think on your feet. Yep, we're going to put the plantain in there. You know it doesn't take long to cook, but we need it to cook, and then we want it to, you want to press it and put it back. All right? All right. Gotta multitask, gotta keep everything in mind, what you're doing, what's coming next. That's how I open my plantain. Okay, and look at that. Beauty, beauty, beauty. Voila, voila, voila. I think we'll just do one. We're gonna put the rest in the fridge. The other one. Oh, I have corn. Yes. And you know, with the plantain, usually when you're cooking plantain and you're gonna fry it, you do put, I soak it in salt water, but I'm not doing that with this one. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil, just dazzle, drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. So it's not so dry. Okay? Usually I'll put some oil on the foil first, but I forgot. All right. Kind of looks like catfish, doesn't it? Yeah. Someone asked me if I can taste it. I said, I hope so. But I think it needs a little bit longer. I want it to be, yeah, a little bit softer. All right. Okay. Ahora que hacemos the Swiss chard, we're gonna chop it off. And the bok choy, and then we'll just put on the tomatoes. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the tomatoes. You know, sometimes you can take the tomatoes and then, like in this pot, when the fish is done, and you just let the tomato, I don't say roast, or saute a little bit. You know, when I was working at the restaurant in, at Disney, we used to make those, the Roma tomatoes. We would do like trays and trays, you know, because I was a prep cook, trays and trays of Roma tomatoes, and then we would have this spice blend, and we just sprinkle on top and put them in the oven, and that would be a side for, we used to do Sunday brunch. Banana fried chicken. Hola, Deborah, Viovi, Samira. Bienvenida. All right, I'm going to cook this out. I have plenty of stock, so I don't need to save anything. So we're going to just clean those and saute these. And then saute the bok choy and then do the tomatoes. And that's all we're going to do today. That is all. Just down a bit. All right, cook. Bok choy, ¿dónde está? Yes. Bok choy is very abundant here in Panama. Again, with the Chinese influence, right? And it's really cheap. This was, oh, I can't see the mostaza. Oh, that's what they call it in Spanish. Greta, take notes. Mostaza for bok choy. It took me a while to learn nahu for okra. Nahu, mostaza. Almost like mustard. Isn't that what we call mustard? Mostaza? Maybe that's what they call it. Okay. Interesting. Wow. All right. But for the bok choy, I like to take the big, this one off. And then I like to keep it whole. I don't like to chop them. But bok choy, just like leeks, you have to wash them really good because they get really sandy at the bottom. And you don't want to be eating the sand, okay? So that these are the kind of greens that you put them in a big container of water and you let them soak, and then you shake them real good, but you don't drain the water because the sand could stay. You just pluck them from the top, shake them, and put them to the side because you're gonna see the sand at the bottom of your pot. So don't just inverse the pot and take your greens out. I watched an interview with Jeff Carter, a gentleman, a businessman here who had opened a restaurant, Daiquiri 23, and I heard him say he got in contact with some people who are going to make color greens. They can plant them, grow them for him, because so many Americans are here now, and everybody's asking, have you seen color greens? I'm like, no. I discovered kale. I found kale finally. I'm not a kale person, but I found kale, but I have not seen green, colored greens. No. All right, let's soak these babies. And that's going to take no time to cook. All right, we're gonna all right, this should be done by now. Ooh, it looks beautiful still. You know, that little bit of, ooh, yeah. That curry powder and, okay, now I can see that it's cooked because it's soft. That's what I wanted, right? You don't want your fish to be kind of hard. No, okay. Muy bien. Well, let's find a place to put them so they can rest. All right. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? I know, it looks like catfish to me. But I'll tell you after I taste it. But we're not frying anything, as I said. We don't fry in this kitchen. No more. I don't think I've fried anything since I've been in Panama. When I came to Panama, I was full whole food plant-based, so I know I did not fry anything. Even though being whole food plant-based doesn't mean they don't fry things. I see these vegan people frying stuff. I don't. Looks like I'm gonna need a little bit more oil. We have 3 more pieces. All right. So we won't have to do the same thing with this one because they're very thin. So we're just gonna let them cook. And the tomatoes. Ooh, what did you do, Maggie? ¿Dónde están los tomates? Tomates. Okay, right here. So we're just gonna cut them in half. Remember, I bought this whole pack for $1. That was a good buy. And we have the Haas avocado that we're gonna use as a decoration. It's really nice. Remember this little thing? I told you I like this little thing. I used to spend a long time doing this to the tomato because you could not serve the tomato with that part. So I was so excited when I found this at Walmart one time. Alright, so we're gonna cut them in, we're just gonna do them in half. And then we're just gonna put them on the in the skillet just for a little bit to soften them up, flip them up, and then we're good. So let's see. Only an hour. That's good. We're doing good time. What am I cooking? We cooked quinoa with black beans. We're making some catfish and some veggies. Easy peasy today. I was going to make the Caribbean soup. I'll probably do that next week because I have another steak fish. That's what I want to do because I don't want to put any kind of meat or chicken in that soup. And I know they use, like oxtail and everything, but I'm going to fast from those for now. Even though I'm going to have to buy a turkey for Thanksgiving. Hola, Dave. ¿Cómo estás? So I'm doing the live this afternoon at 4. Yesterday I couldn't do it because we had our afternoon tea. So you've seen the pictures of the ladies in their whites. Such a nice, really calm afternoon. We like doing that on a quarterly basis. So that's the last one for this year. We will start back. Do we do January or do we go March? I don't know. We'll decide. All right. But today I thought we would talk about cultural norms in Panama. We're embarking on November. November is Fiestas Patrias in Panama. Patriotic holidays. The whole month of November is Fiestas Patrias. So, kind of nice to know what that's all about, right? I did not have coffee today. I don't have coffee every day, so. All right, loosen up, loosen up, loosen up. All right, maybe now we can work on the plantain. A couple more minutes. On the plantain. So we're gonna need maybe a little bit of time in our sauce. We're gonna get ready for that. Yep, that's it. And we can start putting some of that stuff away. Romero, no, we don't need that. Dill, we will need. Quinoa, red onion, no. So the turkey is going to be a challenge for Thanksgiving because I don't have anything big enough to brine the turkey. You usually have to have it deep. I don't have a cooler. Sometimes you can use a cooler. Huh. That is going to be a challenge. I need to start putting my thinking caps on and figure out how I'm going to get this. You know, if you don't have time to brine the turkey, you just, I guess, season it the best you can. And the other thing you could do is getting the syringe. Do your marinade and then inject the turkey. And then when you cook it, see, I don't know how to do that in this fancy oven here. But you boil, you put it on boil for like 5 minutes so that the whole turkey gets really nice and golden. And then you cover it and then you cook it on low. You wish you could smell the cooking. Oh, me too. Now I have a couple of pieces of this catfish here that needs to kind of loosen up. Because when it loosens up, I know it's cooked. All right. Yeah, so we're going to probably just inject the turkey. I'm having company here, so I'm calling it Friendsgiving. So I know the first the first year I was here, boy, I looked all over for cranberry sauce. Oh my goodness. And then I think the next year we found it, but I'm not a cranberry sauce kind of person. And then doing the dressing wasn't bad, because there is plenty of sage here. And sausages, you can find. You know, things are pricey, don't get me wrong. If you want to bake any kind of berries, you know, you want to do any kind of pies, whew, it's going to cost you. So last time I did it, a sister bought, I had her to buy a cheesecake. I made sangria, and I think I made an apple pie. And that was okay. Yeah, I did find a nice Pyrex pie dish to make that, so I can make the apple pie again. And I'm thinking of making a sweet potato squash bread pudding. Yes, and oh, you could make, I could make a peach cobbler. I don't think I've seen frozen peaches nor fresh peaches here. No, leave it alone. I don't want to spend time looking for things that are not here, right? If it's here, ooh, I'll use it. If it's not, I keep it moving. All right. Let's just leave it on low for like a few more minutes. So the plantain should be done, should be ready to be pressed. And you know, like I say, you need to let it sit here for a few seconds so it doesn't stick to the foil, which is what is happening right now. You know, there's this girl that sings that song. She's so good. And that's why people would prefer to fry these, because you don't have to worry about this when you fry the plantain, but we're not frying. So it's a small price to pay to not fry. All right, we got one. You just let it sit for like 5 minutes. And then, yeah, I bake the plantain. This is the way I make plantains now, because I don't want to fry anything in my kitchen. Plus, I forgot to oil the foil, so double trouble. Whew. Are you done? All right. You know how when you go, we used to have a place called Catfish Country where I live, where on Friday night we would go. This is the catfish. Yes. Okay. The quinoa is done. So now let's leave this plantain over here. And I'm wondering if we should make the sauce right now. Okay. We can do that. Just a little sauce for the fish, because I don't like the fish to be too dry. And I need the taste, whatever it was cooked in here. And guess what? I went today and found Riesling. All right. A little bit of olive oil. And the extra garlic that I have left. Put it in here. Now we're gonna let the garlic cook for a little bit. And I'm gonna not strain, but get the thing off the thyme. This is fresh thyme. There is nothing like fresh thyme. Smells amazing. It's a great herb. All right. Yeah, we don't want the garlic to be raw, so we want it to cook a little bit. And then, well, the rest of the marinade, I'll do that in there. We're gonna use that. The rest of that marinade. I'm gonna put some of that some wine. Ooh, smells good. Put the thyme in there, and we're gonna put some of that dill. Ooh, that's too much. Way too much. I mean, just because I have the dill, if I didn't have it, that would have been okay. But after today, it's probably gonna go to waste anyway. Dill, and salt and pepper. A little bit of red pepper flakes. And probably gonna need some lime juice. Lime juice. I think I have a little bit of vegetable stock. And then I'm going to use a little bit of cornstarch in here. I do want the alcohol to evaporate, right? To evaporate. Okay. And poquito de cornstarch with some of that stock, not plain water. I just need a little bit of texture in here. Yes, that's what I needed. More lemon, more lime. Right. Alright, so now let's get these babies. You see, they come off a lot easier once you let them sit for a few minutes. They don't stick as much. Alright, so I have a presser, but if you don't have one of these, let me show you. You can use the bottom of of a cup. All right, so this is good. We're gonna take that off and put it here. So we're gonna press these first. No. Okay, we're gonna use this cup. So let's say you don't have a presser. You can use a cup to press it. But it doesn't work as well, but you could. And you get them to press like that. But I have a presser, so I'm gonna use this. And we're gonna put them back in the oven. And then we just saute these veggies like 2 minutes, and then we're done. But some people just boil the plantain. You can too. I don't like boiled plantain. I like patacones. But we're not frying. So. And what I do with my patacones, once I press them, I just put a little bit of my herb oil. Oh, I forgot this one. Put a little bit of my herb oil. I still have a little bit. It just gives it a little flavor. Just un poquitito. Poquitito, poquitito. Poquitito. Okay? That's it. Better. When I open certain things, I put them in the fridge because we had so much moisture, people having mold issues, so I'm like, ugh. So I put everything in the fridge. That way I don't have to worry about it. So this goes back in the oven. And then I'm going to use another one of my big skillets. I could have used my cast iron, but no, it's too much work. All right, so olive oil, and I'm not going to even bother with garlic, any of that. We're just going to do a little bit of salt and pepper, and that's it. Maybe a little acid, All right, let me bring the veggies. Now remember, I had them soaking in that water. So I'm just going to drop them in. And they're going to cook in no time. Swiss chard and bok choy. Remember what I said, if you don't do that, you're gonna get some of that grit, that sand. That's going to be at the bottom. Of this dirty water. I get excited when I see vegetables like that. So pretty and beautiful. Ooh, yes. And you know what else I like to put in these? A little bit of sesame oil is usually really yummy. So we have our sauce for our fish. Yes. Gonna go down in a jiffy. Now you give me some fish and just a side of this, and I'm a happy camper. I don't need anything else. Oh, now some plantain now, yes. This week we went and had the lobster tail, and I said, I'm not gonna have patacones, and guess what they brought to the table? And I had patacones, come on. I just cannot resist patacones. And also my nut mix. Oh, all right, you see that? You see how it's kind of already down? So now let me put a little bit of that sesame oil. Just, you don't need a lot of sesame oil because it's usually really strong. Un poquito de salsa de soya. I'm talking 1/4 teaspoon. Sal. We got a little bit of soy sauce, so we gotta be careful. Right? And pimiento. And it's one of these things that once you get it to a certain consistency, you got to take it off the heat if you want it to keep its beautiful colors. So let's just do a quick taste. I need to put the acid in it. Well, it's not for everybody. Not everybody likes this kind of veggies, but I do. And some acid. I'm gonna take it off the heat. It's got a lot of liquid. I'm gonna drain that because I don't need it. Too much. Ooh. All the liquid is from taking it off the out of the big thing of the bath and not draining it. All right, so we are done here. I'm gonna take it out. All right, so I think we are ready to plate. So we're gonna have quinoa, some of the greens, the fish on top, And that will be it. All right. Let's get ready to plate. Okay, let's see now what kind of plate we're going to use today. Let's see. Oh, I smell the plantains. We used this one last week. You guys know I have a bunch of mismatched plates, right? Because I refuse to buy like a 8 plates, whatever. No, I don't have time for that. Okay, we'll use this plate today. We'll use this one. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and put the veggies to cover this green section. Yes, that will work. Yeah, you want the bok choy to keep it there, the stem. All right, let's see how this this has. How does it look? You know, I got it from they were on sale. Not bad. Not bad. But still, you see how they're white and pale? I don't like that about avocados. I like my avocados to be dark. Okay? So we could put a couple here. Oh, I forgot the tomatoes. We were going to do something with the tomatoes, weren't we? Yeah. Yes, I think that's enough. And I was going to toast the avocados real quick. Not the avocado, the tomatoes. Let's see if we can do that here. We're just gonna put a couple face down. Well, I can do all of them and then I get to eat them later on. This is one of these skillets that is very thin and it warms really quick. All right, so now we're gonna put the quinoa. Ooh, still warm. This is the quinoa. All right, I know. Well, like I said, when I worked at Disney, we would bake them. We use a lot of Roma tomatoes. Lots. Okay, so let's take the quinoa. The quinoa is so grainy. If I put it in a bowl like this, it's not gonna stay. It's gonna fall apart because it's so grainy. So we're just gonna make a bed out of it. And then put the fish on top. And you see how grainy it is? That's what you want. You don't want your quinoa to be pasty. And I think that's enough for one person. Yes. Let's put that back. Put this. Okay, let's flip them. We're just looking for a little color on the tomato. And I think we got color here, right there. Yes. Very good. So we're gonna put a couple here. All right, that's good. Now we're gonna get the fish. That's a nice piece. Okay. And sauce. This is our white wine sauce. Because you don't want your food to be really dry. You want a little something for somebody to kind of not feel like their teeth are coming apart. All right. And we're gonna get our plantains out. Yep. Ready. And again, we need to let them sit, but we don't have time to do that. We need to let them sit for a little bit so they don't stick. All right. Whew. Turn this off. And ven acá. Ven acá. Okay. Here we go. All right, did we miss anything? Avocado, we got greens, we got fish. Yep. Here we go, ladies and gents. Quinoa, make sure you get your veggies. We got some sauteed tomato here, plantain, the fish with the little wine sauce so it's not so dry, and then quinoa with black beans. Voila. Play with your food. Thank you. I love bok choy in my Asian. Oh yeah. Well, you know that you could learn just to make the bok choy by itself. There are multiple recipes where you just toss them with a little bit of, soy sauce, a little oil, some ginger. Some people put a little sugar. I mean, I don't want to put sugar in my food like that, but yeah. So this is a well-balanced plate, right? Fruit, veggies, protein, grain, carbs, but it's all pretty healthy, right? This is a white wine sauce with garlic, dill, and thyme. Okay? All right. So next week, I think I'm definitely going to do the Caribbean soup because I have that other catfish in there. And I still have, I'm going to take some of that to the ladies downstairs. Look, all the fish. I still have all that. That was from one steak. But you know what? Let me taste to see. I'll tell you if it tastes like catfish. It does. It's not fried, but it does taste like catfish. We'll have a little heat in there for me. It does taste like catfish, you guys. Oh my. So we have catfish in Panama. So you know what? I'm gonna have to get me some of that right now. Some of that Riesling. You know, you have to have wine with your fish. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? And I got the Riesling. Not do too much because it does have sugar in it, so you have to be careful. But maybe after that I'll take a nap. I need to rest today. Mississippi, yes, yes. Well, I'm from Florida. We have catfish, and I have a place where I go, and I think they're farm raised, which I don't like, but and I usually don't buy it that much. My favorite fish is pompano, and of course we don't have that here. We don't have salmon here either. I don't think the salmon migrates this far south. We don't have that, but we have lots of what we call corvina, which is like a sister to snapper. We have snapper. I don't see a lot of cod here either at the fish market. They have mackerel and mahi, tuna. Oh, they have fresh tuna. I have to make another what's that salad that we make with the tuna that we cook slow? Poached tuna and salad niçoise. Oh, this is a yummy, yummy, yummy dish. Yes. But I went to the fish store and I'm pointing and I'm like, what kind of fish? He said catfish. And I was like, what? We have catfish here? I didn't know that. So I told the sisters I would cook it and taste it and let them know if it tastes like catfish. I think it does. I think it does. But you know how you guys fry the catfish. But because I'm not frying, I had to find a different way of cooking it. And I think it tastes okay. It tastes okay. All right, guys. I'll see some of you back here at 4. I'm doing the live tonight, this afternoon. And we're going to talk about, you like farm raised and no variety of fish? Okay. Good to know there is a lot of good, oh yes, there's a lot of good fish in Panama. And of course, you know, we are between 2 oceans. So some people come here just for the fishing. Some people go deep sea fishing. And they get grouper and all kinds of things, right? I would love to get the fish. I don't want to go out and get it. And I want somebody to clean it because I don't clean fish. I don't like the scale. I don't want to do that. So I always buy the fillets, you know. A little bit of bone here and there is okay. And snapper, I don't really care for it that much. It's so bony. But if it's fried, you know, I can eat the bone if it's fried. But yeah, but I love snapper. Big one, so you could cut the steaks and put them in the oven, and you could do them what we call papillote, where you put them in the parchment paper, and then you put all the spices and the lemon, and then you close it, and then you put it in the oven or on the grill, and then after it's cooked, you open it, and all the flavor, everything is there. So the flavors, they can't escape on papillote. That's what we do. We call it. Yes, yes, yes. So please like the video, guys, and give it a thumbs up so it helps the algorithm. All right. I will see some of you tonight at 4 Central, and we'll talk about culture in Panama. In the meantime, this is the plate for today. It may not look pretty, but it's very healthy and good for you. Okay? And you saw how it was made, so you know it's nice and fresh and healthy. All right. God loves you. I love you. Bye.